everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Sarah, and today I just wanted to share with you guys my eyeshadow palette collection. And it's a pretty small collection, I have to be honest with you. I've said in a couple of my other videos, I really didn't get super interested in makeup until about a year ago. And before that, I didn't own any eyeshadow palettes. I think I owned like one CoverGirl quad, and I actually ended up getting rid of it because a couple of the shades broke while I was traveling, so don't have that anymore. But my eyeshadow collection is not very big, but I like to think that because I got into makeup and I started watching YouTube videos, that when I picked the palettes that I have, I was very selective of what I chose, and so I love all of the palettes that I currently have. I also find like I'm pretty good at decluttering stuff if I don't like it, so I have actually decluttered a few palettes. I don't have them anymore to show you guys, but I can insert the pictures of them when I start talking about them. So the first palette that I ever got was actually the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. So looks like this, and I mean everyone has seen this palette, it's all over YouTube. I really like it. I haven't been using it recently. I'll hold it upside down and try not to blind you guys, but this is what it looks like. Again, I don't have any pan on it at all. I haven't really been reaching for it since the summertime. I just find the shades are a bit better for like warmer weather, and I've been trying to reach for some kind of darker, more cool tone stuff. So, but I do really love this palette. It smells amazing, like peaches. If you are sensitive to fragrance, that might not be one that you like, but I personally love it. I think it's awesome. So hoping to get some more use out of that one for sure once the weather warms up. And the reason that I bought that palette was actually I went to Sephora in store looking for the Modern Renaissance palette. So I have that one here. But at the time, that one was completely sold out, and it sells out all the time still in Sephora, even though it's been around for like a year and a half now, 2 years. So I ended up buying the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. The lady at Sephora convinced me to buy that one instead, but I still really wanted the Modern Renaissance. So even though I had the Sweet Peach, I knew that I wasn't, you know, it wasn't what I went to the store for, and that I still wanted to pick up the Modern Renaissance. So there's my Modern Renaissance palette. Again, another popular one on YouTube that you guys have all seen. It's got that like velvet type packaging, so it's hard to keep it clean, which is kind of one thing I've heard a lot of people say they don't really like about it. So this is what it looks like on the inside. Again, try not to blind you guys. So I do have pan in one shade here, this cream colored shade off in the corner, Tempura. And then I have the shade Bon Fresco, this nice purple mauvey one, in my Finish 8 by Easter project pan that I'm working on. And I'll link it in the cards above if I can figure out how to do that. I've never done it before, but I'm learning quickly. So that's the Modern Renaissance palette, and I don't want to be that like typical person that everyone on YouTube says it's their favorite palette, but I think out of the ones that I do own, it probably is my favorite palette. I just really enjoy the color selection. Like, I love that you can get some nice like daytime work appropriate looks from the stuff down in this side of the palette, but then you can also spice it up and get some color like with Love Letter and these red shades. Really nice for fall, but I find it really nice for, like I said, it's very versatile, and the shades are really soft, so they're easy to blend and work with, lots of pigmentation. Well, the one thing I find I don't love about this palette is that because the shades are so softly pressed, if I could say it, I'm afraid to travel with it. So I've said it in a few of my other videos, I'm traveling all the time, like 2/3 of my month most of the time. And I won't bring this palette with me because I'm afraid that in my suitcase it'll get jumbled around and I'll end up breaking half the shades. So that's kind of one negative of it, but I mean, otherwise I love using it when I'm home. I have no problems. I reach for it all the time. I have trouble reaching for other stuff because I want to reach for that one all the time. Next up, I've got two palettes from Urban Decay. I've got the Naked 3. Oh, it looks like this one. Super pretty packaging. And I've heard so many people on YouTube say this is not their favorite Urban Decay Naked palette. I don't own the Naked 1 or 2. Like I said, didn't get into makeup when that was a super popular one on YouTube and everybody had it. I know most people have it in their collection, but I thought about grabbing it just because it seems like so many people love it and talk about it, but I really wasn't attracted to the shades, and I don't know if that's just because, you know, warm tone palettes are so popular right now or what, but I didn't really want to grab it. So I grabbed this one because I really loved the pink shades, all these rosy tone ones down here. I just thought they were beautiful. As soon as I saw it, I knew that I wanted it, and I don't reach for it. I wish I could say that I did. I've done a few looks with it, but I think it's just a little bit boring. I keep saying I'm gonna reach for it for kind of more like low-key neutral looks for work and stuff like that, but I just don't gravitate for it. Usually with my full-size palettes, I only use them when I'm at home and I'm not traveling. And so when I'm home, I usually want to do a more fun look, like this one, for example, that has a bit of color and, you know, something that's not workplace appropriate. So I find I don't want to reach for this palette. I don't know if the colors are just boring or what, but I'm thinking maybe in the springtime I'll be able to maybe put that in a project pan and reach for it. We'll see, but I definitely want to get a bit more use out of it. And next up is another Urban Decay palette, another popular one. It's the Urban Decay Naked Heat. Super pretty packaging, I love it. I usually don't fall for packaging with makeup in general. I like look at the actual makeup, but I can appreciate nice packaging. So this is what it looks like on the inside. Super pretty, super warm tone. And I love it. I was reaching for this one all the time in the fall, and I find the shades are like really easy to blend out and work with. For someone who's new to makeup like myself, I love how easy the shades are to blend out. I have heard a lot of people say that you end up getting a lot of similar looks with the palette. Like, even though there is quite a lot of shades in here, you can see a lot of them are the same kind of tone, and once you blend them out, they end up looking pretty similar. But I don't find that. I don't have that complaint yet, personally. I do think the one thing the palette is missing, and I've said this before, is like a nice shimmery champagne shade. I mean, it has this stuff down at the end, which is like a good like transition crease shade. And this one, which I use for like a brow bone highlighter, setting all over the eye, setting down your primer. But I really think it's missing like a nice shimmery champagne type of color to make it look a little bit lighter, to be able to get lighter looks like this, where I have this glittery shade on the first inner third of my eye. I feel like this palette is kind of missing that, because those other shades, they're all pretty matte, and then the only ones that are really shimmery here are this one here, this one here, and this one here. So because of that, they're all kind of red shimmers. So if you want a shimmery shade from this palette on your eye, it's all kind of red or pink. And I just wish it had like a champagne color. That being said, I think everyone has some of those in their collection, but I just think it's nice to have a palette where you have everything you want in one place. So it's just my 2 cents. Next up, a new one to my collection is the Makeup Forever Starlit Glitter Palette. I just got this one 2 days ago. I've only used it once on the eyes, and it's actually the shade I have on the inner third of my eyes right now. The shade is this one right here, which is kind of like a glittery champagne shade. So that's what this one looks like. Haven't played with it too much, so I can't say a whole lot about it. I didn't really have any glitters in my collection, so I knew I wanted to grab it. If you guys want to see swatches of that, I did include it in a video I just posted, so I'll link it up in the cards so you guys can check that out if you want to, if you care. I'm sure there's lots of videos on YouTube that have swatches of it. But I really like it. One thing I did hear the Daisy Girlie mention is that she swatched it and the base pigment of the colors wasn't very good. And I think that's true for a couple of them. Like the lighter champagne shade, this white shade, this one here, for sure, they're kind of lacking that base pigmentation. They're almost more like a topper. But then the other 4 shades, I find like the base color beneath the glitter is actually pretty good pigmentation, so I like it. If you don't own glitters already, then it's a good palette to have. If you own a bunch of glitters already, then it's probably not something that you need in your collection. So and then I've got another big palette here, which is the Too Faced Best Year Ever, and I just got this Christmas as was part of their holiday 2017 set. So came with the Boss Lady Beauty agenda. So it looks like this. So it's the biggest palette that I have. Like I said, small collection. So I was really drawn to the kind of jewel tone shades, like this red one here that's called Plum Pudding, this emerald green trimmed here, and I like that it has blush, bronzer, and highlight as well included in it. So if you are traveling, you can actually get a full look out of just this palette. So I really like it. I've only used it a few times. I find like now that the weather's warming up a little bit, I'm not super drawn to those like deep jewel tone shades, but the looks I did get out of it when I used it were really pretty. So looking forward to using that one a little bit more. I was able to grab it at the end of the season when it was actually on sale on the Sephora site. So yeah, heard good things about it, saw lots of reviews. When I saw it on sale, I had to grab it. So trying to be on a makeup low buy now, so my palette collection doesn't get any bigger though. And then from here in, I've just got some kind of smaller palettes, more like travel size. And I know everyone says, oh, they like small palettes because they travel, but I actually do travel all the time. I don't use it as an excuse to buy small palettes. I actually need small palettes, and I'll show you the two that I've been taking with me all the time when I've been traveling lately. And that is the Smashbox Cover Shot Ablaze Eye palette. Looks like this. Really cool packaging on the front. It is plastic, but it's like a heavy duty type plastic. One thing I worry about is it's not hinged very well. Like, it's kind of just plastic hinge, and I worry that that'll break after a lot of use. So this is what it looks like. So really pretty. You've got 8 shades in there, and I love that you get 8 shades and it's in such a small package. So I use this shade, this cream one, whoops, over here for setting all over the eye. And then lots of nice kind of warm tone fall type colors here, and some pinks and shimmery things over here. So I think it's really beautiful. I looked at a lot of the Cover Shot palettes from Smashbox, and this is the one that I was the most drawn to. You know, warm tone looks are super popular right now. I feel like that looks so similar to the shade Love Letter from Modern Renaissance, which is what I have on my eyes. I might swatch those two and see if they look similar. Yeah, I really like it. It's, like I said, great for traveling, and I feel like the pigments are, or the shades themselves are pressed hard enough that I don't worry about it when I'm traveling. I don't worry that it's gonna get smashed and all the shades are gonna get broken, because it is a pricier palette for the size of it. So yeah, I don't fear that way. Like I said, with Modern Renaissance, I'm always worried that I'll end up smashing it when I'm traveling. So I don't have this fear with the Smashbox one. I just want to see if those are dupes while I'm here. So this is the pink shade from the Smashbox palette, and it's actually a bit more red toned. I don't know if that's showing up on camera. I don't have very good lighting today. And then this is the Modern Renaissance Love Letter. So they're not as close as I thought they would be, but I mean, I don't think you really need both in your collection for sure. So yeah, that's this one. I did actually own another one of the Smashbox Cover Shots. I owned the one called Golden Hour, and I actually decluttered it. I gave it to a friend. I just found like I don't know what I found exactly wrong with it. The pigmentation wasn't very good. A lot of the shades felt chalky to me, and I didn't feel like I could get good looks out of it. Pretty much everything, there was like one matte shade. I'm gonna link a picture of it so you guys can see what I'm talking about, but I think there was like one matte cream shade in there that I used for setting all over the lid after I put down my primer or my concealer. And then I found the rest of the shades were all shimmers. So, I mean, when I'm traveling, as I said, I want a whole palette that I can make a full look with. I don't want to have to carry 7 palettes around or a bunch of singles to try to get a full look. So I felt like it was missing those transition shades or crease shades. And I think those are important in palettes that are marketed as travel size palettes, because, you know, how much stuff can you carry with you when you're traveling? So did declutter that one. Personally, it just wasn't for me. I didn't feel like I needed it in my collection. So, and the other one that I've been traveling with me all the time, along with the Smashbox one, is the Tartelette Flirt. And I love this palette. I think it's super awesome. And I'll show it to you guys. It's a little messy, but it looks like this. So you get 6 shades in there, and I do find like you get the nice like transition in your crease shades here. There are these 2 shimmer shades that you can put on the lid to add a bit of a pop to your look, and then you've got some 2 darker shades to kind of deepen it up. And again, it's warm toned. I don't own the, what is the one that just came out from Tartelette Toasted, but a lot of these shades are from the Tartelette Toasted, I believe, so I don't feel like I need that one, but I love this one for traveling. Great pigmentation on it. So yeah, no complaints there. Again, I haven't used it a whole lot. When I work, I usually end up having to wake up at 4 in the morning, so my eyeshadow looks are very simple, if any, like 1 shade looks. But if I do end up having more spare time, then I'll play around with this one. So you can see I've gotten most use out of these 2 down at the end, the kind of basic shades. So I love that one. I did actually own the other one. The one that's the smaller version of the Tartelette in Bloom, Tartelette Tease, and I'll put a picture of it in here. And I decluttered that one. Actually, no, I didn't declutter it. I returned it. I never return stuff to Sephora. It just makes me uncomfortable. I know that they kind of destroy the makeup after you return it, so I don't like that. I don't like makeup being destroyed, but I was super disappointed with the pigmentation in that one. It wouldn't really show up on my eyes. Every time I tried to do a look, I felt like it wasn't pigmented, wasn't showing up. The purples looked gray, so got rid of that one. And I don't miss it at all. Nope, not even a little bit. So yeah, those are these two, the ones that I travel with all the time. And they've probably been in my suitcase for the last 6 months. Haven't broke any shades out of them, knock on wood. So love those. Then I've got a Buxom palette. Again, one of the first palettes that I actually got and I made for myself. And I don't like it. I don't reach for it. And that's because I didn't really understand how to make a look when I picked what shades were in here. So you can see I've got like a shimmery white on the end, and then almost like a pinky shimmer. Then this, which is a matte pink, and then this matte, almost like taupe color. Shimmery, pinky purple shade, and then this one's like a nice like dark, almost blue shade. And I don't know why I don't reach for it. Like I said, I find these 2 shades that are the matte ones to be pretty chalky. Like, I don't know, I just don't like the way they look. There they are on those 2 fingers there. Again, lighting's not very good, but you can almost tell that they're chalky just from those little finger swatches there. But yeah, just don't reach for this. I'm gonna try to get a bit more use out of it. I keep saying that with all my palettes. I mean, there's only so much eyeshadow you can put on your face in a day, so yeah, we'll see. I've heard so many people say they love the Buxom shadows, but I just find them dry. Maybe it's just the ones that I picked or whatever, but I'll try to give them a bit more of a go in the future. I've got a little MAC quad. I don't own a lot of MAC makeup. This is the only eyeshadow I have from MAC. I bought these 3 shades. These 2 were actually mentioned by the Daisy Girly, who I follow on YouTube. I love watching her videos, and she mentioned these 2, Stars and Rockets and Sushi Flower, I believe are the names of these 2. And they look so good on her, and I love them. I didn't, at the time, really have much color in my collection, so I wanted to kind of start playing with a bit of color, so I thought, hey, why not grab these 3 shades? And then I just picked up this kind of like shimmery cream shade, just because I thought it would kind of tone down these colors if I went a little too crazy with it. Sorry for blinding you guys. Yeah, so those are the MAC shadows that I have there. If you guys are curious, if you want to know what the shades are, I can pop them out and look. I know that that's Sushi Flower and Stars and Rockets, but I don't know the names of the other 2 offhand. But put it in the comments if you care. Next up, I've got Lorac Pro To Go, this one. And I've never used this one, which is sad. My collection's not that big, but I've never used it. I actually bought it as a gift for someone for Christmas, and then something happened and I ended up getting them something else. So I have swatched this one. I just decided to keep it. And I thought it would be good, again, for traveling. And it's pretty cool the way it folds up, like a book. Closes like that. And you can see you get, looks like this. So the reason I kind of thought I'll keep it was because you get a nice kind of set for making a full face of makeup while you're traveling, which is the idea. It's what this is marketed for. It's pro to go. So you've got kind of 6 shades over here that could be used for eyeshadows, you know, nice transitions shades and some shimmers, and then a black as like a liner to deepen up a look. And then this one you could use as a highlight. This one you could use, it's called Shell, for setting all over the lid. So I love that it's versatile like that. And then you've got these 2 shades, a shimmery blush, a matte blush, and then a bronzer shade. So I thought overall this would be an awesome palette for traveling with. But then after watching, and it's the only Lorac eyeshadow palette that I own, it's harder to find Lorac in Canada. We don't have Ulta here, so if I want to get Lorac stuff, I have to order it. And it's not at Sephora, which is where I usually order stuff from. So this is the only thing that I got, and I actually got it as an add-on through my FabFitFun subscription box. So it was pretty cheap. I don't remember how much though. And yeah, I thought it would be good for traveling with. But then after watching reviews of the Lorac shadows, I realized they're similar to the Modern Renaissance in the sense that they're more softly pressed and more powdery. And again, I'm afraid to travel with them because I'm just worried that they'll end up getting smashed. But again, I'm marking it down. I might end up doing like a 1 month, 1 palette or something like that. I'm not doing a Pan That palette because I don't have a lot of eyeshadow, but none of it has a lot of use. And I want to show love to all of my palettes because they're all so new. I don't want them sitting around for a year, year and a half and not getting used. So that's kind of why I'm not doing a Pan That palette this year. Maybe next year if I can get some better use out of this stuff. But I'm probably going to focus on just palettes, maybe like a 1 month, 1 palette or something like that. So then I have 2 from Huda Beauty, and they're their 2 of the little guys that they just released. These are on Sephora for $27, I believe. And as soon as I saw them, I was like, oh my god, I need them. So I've got the Mauve Obsessions, which is this one here. It's just a small little one. 9 pans of shadow and a little mirror. I like how they're closely set in the palette together, so they're not taking up a lot of wasted space for traveling. And I like the shades. I've heard a lot of people say they're not a huge fan of the Mauve one just because the shade range isn't the best. You end up with looks that are pretty similar, but I really like it. And I like that you get, you know, a shade for setting the eyes. This is a nice transition shade. You get some nice shades for darkening the look up, and then you get these like fabulous glittery shades. So glittery shades. So I really like it. I'm not disappointed. I mean, I didn't buy a palette this size thinking I was going to get like 50 million looks out of it, right? So not disappointed with it. And then the other one I got is the Huda Beauty Electric Obsessions palette. And it's the same layout, 9 pans, all closely placed together in the palette, which I like. And again, when I was talking about the MAC palette, I didn't own any color. And I thought, hey, I'll buy a couple singles to see if I can get some, you know, I don't want to buy a big, huge, colorful palette and then not use it. So I like that this was a smaller little palette. And yeah, I like that it's got a lot of different shades you can play with. And it's also got some glittery and shimmery shades. This teal shade, this royal blue, and then this purple down here are all more shimmery or glittery. So I really like it. Again, haven't used it a whole lot. It's not really something I can use for work. It's not really work appropriate for what I do. It's not really work appropriate for what most people do, I would say, but I mean, you know, every workplace is different, so I haven't used it a whole lot, but when I did use it, I really liked it. You have to be careful though, because these shades are super pigmented, and I found like they will stain your eyelids, so just be warned, I guess. Buyer beware. So those are actually all of my eyeshadow palettes. Again, not a huge collection, and I don't really want to have a huge collection. I like that I don't have a lot. I like that I can use everything that I've got. I get like anxiety when I have so much stuff that I feel I'll never be able to use it and it'll expire before I can get any good use out of it. I really don't like that, which is why I love the idea of project panning. So, and then I've just got 2 other palettes. I figured I'd show you guys. They're face palettes, but they're the only 2 that I own, so I figured I might as well throw them in here. So I just got the Anastasia blush kit in the shade Radiant. I got this for my birthday from my sister. Looks like that. 4 blushes, super pigmented, so be careful or you'll end up rocking the 80s blush look, but for my skin tone, they're really pretty. It's the only blush palette that I have, so I like that it gives me a little bit more flexibility with what colors I want to play with looks. So that's that one. And I've seen a lot of those people posting them that they're at TJ Maxx and Marshalls. So if you can find them for a cheap price at those places, I would recommend them for sure. Like any Anastasia stuff that you can find, like it's really good quality, so why not? And then the last one I've got is actually the Sugar Glow Kit by Anastasia. And again, I got this from my sister. This one was for Christmas though. And this is what it looks like. It doesn't have a mirror, so I don't know why I'm worried about blinding you. I guess I can show you guys the proper way. So it's just 4 highlighters. I've used them all on my face and they actually work well for my skin tone. I was worried that this one might be a little too dark and this one might be a little too light, but you know, they're not bad. You can easily work with them. And I don't know if you can see it. I'm not really blinding anyone today because I might get called into work, but this is the shade that I have on today, which is Gumdrop, and it's super pretty. It's like a pinky purple almost. The lighting's not very good, but it doesn't really show up that way, but on the face it looks really pinky purple. And then here's the Starburst shade. This one here, sorry for giving you guys the finger. And then Butterscotch, this one down here. It's that shade there, and it's more of like a gold. It's beautiful. I think I'll get more use out of that one in the summertime when my skin's a little darker and when I'm going for more of that like tanned beachy look. And then this white one here, which is called Marshmallow. Super pretty, super, like you could build that one up to glow to the gods, so really pretty. So yeah, those are all of my palettes, eyeshadows and my 2 face palettes. Like I said, small collections, the way I want to keep it. Trying to be on a low buy and not go too crazy. So I'm sure a lot of you can appreciate that have to like declutter a lot of palettes, and you know, for those of us that aren't getting anything for free, it's nice to not go too crazy with makeup for the most part. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I would love any questions and comments. I want to start interacting with you guys more for sure. Down in the comments box. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that and have a good day.